Let me think about this. 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. That was right around the era I was thinking about starting my podcast. We're in 2026. I didn't get started until June of 2020. What happened? I don't know. Coming up on the Interludes Podcast, it's me being real, letting you know, don't be afraid of the mic. I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast. The Interludes Podcast,
a Pure Lighthouse production.
This episode is brought to you by PureLighthouseMedia.com, home to the book, A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting and the personal memoir come together perfectly. If you want to start your podcast journey, schedule a 15-minute call with me, research our podcasting blog tips. It's all on our fully remodeled website today.
And now, all the way from the south side of Chicago, give it up for your host, Val the Voice Johnson.
Hey everyone, it is Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast on Spotify. There's something ironic about this particular episode for me, because podcasting was first suggested to me back in 2012. Kevin Springer, Brooklyn Ministry. Janelle Millen, Brooklyn Ministry. We talked about this. I knew all of the films at the time to go to. I knew the actors, sometimes knew the directors. And they said, you should start a podcast. And I was thinking, I could, but who would listen? In 2012, I did start the business, Pure Lighthouse Media. It sounded so good to me. 2013, I bought the mic. I bought the stand, very similar to this. Not quite this mic, but a stand similar to this. And I remember setting everything up on my desk back in Brooklyn. 2014, 2015, I still hadn't started. I didn't do my podcast. Then I finally thought, you know what? I am going to put this away because my life in New York is too busy. I was already filming. I was doing videography. I was learning photography to help out my business partner at the time. What's up, Peter? And then I started to get jobs. Then I was looking for a 9-to-5 because I knew that was consistent money. You guys know the hustle. If you're fighting to get the job that you love, it doesn't come. You got to work a job that you know you can get and get paid, because you got to keep food on the table and a roof over your head. It's just that simple. But here's the thing. I sat down my mic for years. Not because I didn't have a voice, and not because I didn't love music, movies, culture, none of that. It was because I was waiting to feel and be ready. I even wrote out what I wanted to talk about. That still didn't feel ready enough to me. And I think I was also waiting to feel less afraid. I was so comfortable being behind the camera, but being in front of the camera scared me. Always got these compliments on this voice, but I was afraid to use it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it would take me 8 years, 2012, 2020, June. We started the podcast. We started Interludes. We've renamed it the Interludes Podcast, but it's still me. And now when I look back on it all, I realize podcasting didn't just give me a platform. It didn't just give the people that I shared my platform a platform to share their voice. It gave me a place to put my thoughts, at the time, my grief, my memories, my voice, when I didn't know where else to put them. Today, I want to talk to you about why sometimes it takes us days, months, and sometimes years to start the thing that's calling us, and why starting anyway can change everything. So, I have to let you guys know something. Editing audio podcasts, I did not realize that was a very technical thing to do, like an audio engineer. I did it for myself. I did it for the platform for a long time. And I've gotten the questions, why has there been so much space between episodes? At one time, you used to edit your podcast every single week and release it for us to hear. That was kind of the thing I was doing. At that time, I had help. I had help in producing the podcast. I think that's about where I'm going to stay with that. Yeah, I had help in producing the podcast. And it felt good to have kind of a creative accountability partner to say, how does this sound? That person would drive around in their car, listen to it, and then let me know, hey, you were a little hot on this space here. And you kind of started to talk off like into a tangent. And this part didn't feel as conversational. You need to walk this back. But think about it. In 2020, many of us were not going out of our houses. I know I wasn't. I was going outside to drive up and down Lakeshore Drive just to get out of the house because that was driving me bananas being in my house. I don't know if you guys can identify with that, but that's what was happening. And for me, waiting for 8 years to start a podcast, now that I got the momentum going, now that I look back on it, I'm thinking, what was I afraid of? This was not too bad. This was easy. And it was especially easy when you had someone to produce it with. So when that person left and I started to write my book, A DJ Saved My Life, I was thinking, well, I'll produce the audio side of this later. And what has happened is that technology has caught all the way up to where now Spotify, that you're listening to this on or you're watching it on, has now brought the ability to bring video to Spotify. Why didn't I eat that up immediately? It's like I ran away from the responsibility of producing an audio podcast every week, not realizing that the tool to do the podcast and to present it has changed, and it's a good thing. It works for us that are comfortable now in front of the camera. Because keep in mind, in 2012 and all those years up until 2020, I was very happy being the camera woman, shooting the wedding, shooting the bar mitzvah, shooting the special event, the birthday party, all of those things. And now it's requiring me to use my brain, my organic intelligence, to produce a wonderful and thought-provoking podcast every week for years. I was very consistent from 2020 to 2023 every week. But then I had to remember something. I added a podcast to me. I added a production role to myself. It was the Pull Up Podcast Show. Now I've been brought on as producer, and now I'm co-hosting a couple of weeks. I think the last couple of, oh my gosh, the last month and a half, I've been producing and being the co-host. So I've watched a lot of football over the last couple of weeks. Oh, and speaking of football, for my friends and fans that are on the East Coast, my heart breaks for my friends that are in Baltimore. Baltimore Ravens didn't make it. The 2025 Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, didn't make it. I was so sad about that. In my mind, I was thinking it was going to be the Eagles and the Bears for Super Bowl 2026. Not happening. We got eliminated. Chicago, we got eliminated. When did we get eliminated? We got eliminated by, what was the name of the team? LA Rams, who, back when they were in the Super Bowl, I was rooting for them because, their halftime show back then was fire. That was the one that Dr. Dre produced. Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg. Like, I still watch that ever so often. I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I really was getting into the sports. So producing the audio podcast took a backseat to all of the wonderful things that were going into my brain. And of course, I was experiencing a little bit of information overload. Just a little bit. But I'm doing a whole lot better now, and I'm grateful. I have to say something regarding the year 2020. There was a lot of things that happened, and I've talked about this before. I was sad that I had to have a milestone birthday during the pandemic, but we had a blast on both of my Zoom parties. Yeah. And I gave them back to back. The 50th birthday party was Zoom party. I had people here in person, not too many, maybe about 4 or 5 people. But people were on the Zoom until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And they were having comfortable conversations. And for some reason, I queued up some music and people just felt so at home, just chilling. I was literally being a DJ in that virtual space, saving people's lives from, okay, what am I going to do this evening? Do I want to worry about COVID? No, I don't. Isn't that wonderful? I know, right? It was really good. And here's the thing. For me, podcasting is something that I think about that saved my sanity. It's more than something of a trend. When I say a DJ saved my life, I am saying Valerie saved my life, because we pivoted during a dark time of our country. And that's just how it is. I have to make mention of this. I recently saw Dave Chappelle's Unstoppable. How many people saw that? Myself and Coach Tony, for the Talk on Tuesdays show, we reviewed that particular comedy special for our platform. And Tony told me about another gentleman, Ali Sadiq. He's like, you got to check this guy out. He's so funny. He's produced everything on YouTube. So we hope to be able to have him on the show one of these days. We're just putting that out there. But I have to think about it. With Dave Chappelle, there was, anytime he releases something, we know we're going to laugh, but he's going to be giving you a little bit of education. And some things that make you go, as Arsenio Hall used to say, didn't think about it that way. And I thought about his special, but what I was really drawn to was the music that he used. Most importantly, I'm a huge fan of Stevie Wonder. Coach Tony and I shared some of our favorite Stevie Wonder songs from the week before, because we talked about Dr. King and how Stevie used his voice to help Dr. King's Holiday become a reality. Like, that's a big deal. And so Dave Chappelle, Unstoppable, he uses Stevie Wonder's Joy Inside My Tears to close the entire comedy special. And I was thinking, why would he pick that song? And he was talking about some very serious topics with a comedic edge. And then you thought, oh my gosh, that's true. He kept going back. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in these things. However, let me present this. I didn't know the rapper Nipsey Hussle. I didn't know him that well. I didn't know his music that well. But I had my cousin. She calls herself Philly now. We were in California around the same time. No, in February of 2020, before everything went sideways. And we went around to murals of Nipsey Hussle. And we went to the area where he was working on developing and growing. I think he had a store and everything. I had no idea that he was actively trying to produce a documentary on Dr. Sebi. Now, if you don't know who Dr. Sebi is, please go look him up. Natural doctor, and I think I befriended some of his family members in Brooklyn as they were going to help me relieve my issues. Well, let's just be honest. I was going through some issues, female issues. So I was like, what herbs can I take to help with that? But I was thinking, he's a great storyteller. And in a roundabout way, comics and their specials are like long forms podcasts. They're letting you know what they think. I feel like a lot of people have mastered it. And if you've noticed, the comedians who really have stuff to say, or they make you think, they have their own platforms. They host their own shows. Some of them host multiple shows. Wink, wink, Steve Harvey. So there you go. So now I am going to take a little bit of a break, but I'm going to pause right here and let you know that you're listening to the Interludes Podcast on Spotify with Val the Voice.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the KeySpot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Now, I got to ask you guys some questions. You're probably thinking, why is she sharing all this about it took her 8 years to start a podcast? What's going on with that? Not too much. But here's the thing. Is there a project or a degree or a book, or in my case, a podcast, that you have been sitting on longer than you want to admit? Think about it. I'm a huge fan of the motivational speaker, Eric Thomas. Got a chance to see him in person last year at the Podcast Summit, which, by the way, I'm excited to see what's going to happen this year in Atlanta in July. My business coach, David Shands, he's friends with Eric Thomas, and I heard him recently say, you have got to write down the goal, the date, the year that you would like to achieve it, and literally manifest it into your life like you believe it with all your heart and soul. I was thinking, if that's the case, I could have manifested a bunch of things in my life. But he talked about getting his doctorate degree. And he was so sure, he told his grandmother. Here's the thing. Don't put off today what you could be doing today. Or say, I'll do it tomorrow. Do it today. And even if it's just one small step. I have a good friend of mine who's reading the book. I'm all excited about this. She's reading the book. And while she was traveling with her husband, she started writing out what she wants to talk about for her podcast. I said, great. So we've been talking back and forth. She told me, I'm on the 4th chapter. I was like, great. So she's reading the book, and she told me, I want to organize this because I work better with it being organized. Keep in mind, that's her. That's not everybody, but that's her. But here's the thing. I believe if we start with intention, we write it down, we give it a purpose in our mind. And here's the thing, let it be tied to a why. Why do I want to start this project? Write this book, do or say this speech, or produce and host this podcast. What's your why? For me, the pain of losing my mom, it cut me up a lot during 2020. She passed 6 days after her 83rd birthday. And I was kind of fighting the fact that I needed grief recovery. I had a friend of mine tell me, you should probably do grief counseling, grief recovery, and, see how you feel about everything after you've gone through this class. I did. Thank goodness. And I was with a good group of people. I think we were 6 to 7 weeks in, and then the pandemic happened. Do you know I was so determined to see the light at the end of the tunnel that I joined with another person, and it was a book that we were using, and we finished the book, we finished the exercises, and then we talked via Facebook Messenger. I think we were doing that, Facebook Messenger. My why for starting my platform was that I wanted my mom to feel how much I love her, and how much I wanted her to see that me putting off doing radio is now working for me in this space. Think about it. If you start your project, your speech, writing your book, or doing your podcast today, what could change from 1 month from now, 2 or 3 months from now, 6 months from now? Think about that. So if this episode resonated with you, I'll be continuing this conversation throughout the rest of this month and going into Black History Month, because I'm celebrating it like all get out, especially now. And I have an upcoming webinar called Kickstart Your Podcast in 2026. Let me see. Saturday, January 31st. And it's going to be in the morning because I want the folks that have to work for a living, if you can get up in the morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central, get on up and check out how you can get started doing your own podcast. And here's the thing. In this first month, or definitely this first quarter, it's all about tapping into the why and the wonderful goals that you would like to not only set, but to achieve. And I'm thinking about, if there are people that you love, and I heard this from somewhere, if there's people that you love, write it down, write them down, write their names down. And if there's something that you would want to do for them, let that be your why. If it's your children or future children, write their names down. If it's your aunt, your favorite aunt or uncle, your grandmom, your granddad, your grandnieces or nephews or children or grandchildren. It could be your bestie that you've known for over 40 years. Yeah. The bestie that's gotten you through some spiritual lows, we'll say. Write their names down. Write the plan, make it clear. That's biblical. And if you're ready to get started with your podcast, let me know. I'll be here. I am so grateful for this platform, and I'm embracing this new way of talking. I talk live twice a week in a podcast form. So why was I making this part so difficult for me? Why should anyone make it difficult? Well, I'm signing off, and I hope to see you next week. And if any of this episode resonated with you, let me know in the comments, or, visit purelighthousemedia.com/shop and really let us know, because I'm real proud of all the good, great things that we have to offer you. In the meantime, let me pack up these hits and get out of here. That's one of the favorite sayings that I had from my favorite DJ, and that was Tom Joyner. That's right, the Fly Jock. He would say that at the end of his shows, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and this is the Interludes Podcast on Spotify. The Interludes Podcast.
Original concept by Valerie Johnson.
Sports segments for Talk on Tuesdays, produced by Coach Tony Thompson.
Original intro and outro music produced by Kendall Nesbitt.
The Interludes Podcast, a Pure Lighthouse production. This episode is brought to you by our brand new website, purelighthousemedia.com, the official home of A DJ Saved My Life, where the ABCs of podcasting meet personal transformation. And now available in print. Order your signed copy today and discover how finding your voice can change your life. Are you a business or entrepreneur looking to promote your work through a dynamic podcasting platform? Partner with us through sponsorship and marketing opportunities. Your message belongs in front of our audience. Got that $1 million podcast idea, but don't know where to start? Whether you need a coach, a guide, or a full-on producer, I'm here to walk you through the process and bring your podcast vision to life. Visit purelighthousemedia.com today to get your book, book your consultation, or connect with us about sponsorship. Let's grow together.